The Last of Us Part 1 just hit 10 million copies sold on PS5 alone. Know what that means? Single-player story games aren't dead, they're dominating. But which PS5 exclusives actually earn your $60?
Can it?
Hey everyone, welcome back. You're hearing an AI voice because, honestly, it's the fastest way to get through 10 incredible games without stumbling over my own excitement. Look, PS5 has been out long enough now that we can separate the genuine masterpieces from the pretty tech demos. These aren't just games with good graphics, these are stories that'll mess you up emotionally. The kind where you sit staring at credits wondering what just happened to your life. Before we start ruining your free time, smash subscribe if you love getting your heart broken by video games. And comment below, which PS5 story game made you cry? Because I guarantee 3 of your answers are on this list. Let's count down the 10 best PS5 single-player stories that prove this console generation is special. Starting at number 10, Astro Bot. Look, I almost didn't put this here. It's a platformer about a tiny robot collecting lost crew members. No epic dialogue, no complex moral choices, just pure gaming joy. But here's the thing. The DualSense controller makes every surface feel different. Grass, metal, sand, you actually feel the texture. Level design that makes you smile constantly. And it's basically a love letter to PlayStation history that hits right in the nostalgia. Downside? Story's basically non-existent. 6 hours and you're done. Some levels feel more like tech demos. And honestly, it might be too cute for people wanting serious narratives. Astro Bot proves you don't need grimdark drama to tell a story. Sometimes pure joy is enough. Number 9, Returnal. This one messed me up. Celine crashes on this hostile alien planet where death resets everything, except memories and trauma. It's psychological horror disguised as a shooter. Every death reveals new story fragments, like solving a puzzle where each piece makes you more uncomfortable. DualSense haptics make alien tech feel genuinely foreign, which is terrifying when you're holding it. The psychological horror elements? Genuinely unsettling. But man, the roguelike structure means story payoffs take forever. Difficulty spikes that'll break controllers. Originally had no save system. Finish your run or lose everything. Returnal takes serious commitment. Worth it though. Now, if sci-fi mindfucks aren't your style,
for when all is lost, the tide remains.
Number 8, Ghost of Tsushima. Jin Sakai starts as this honorable samurai, ends as a ruthless ghost assassin. The Mongol invasion forces impossible choices: honor or survival. Every single screenshot looks like museum art. Combat feels like choreographed sword dancing. Photo mode will ruin your productivity for hours, trust me. And somehow, they made haiku writing emotional. Here's where it stumbles. Open world checklist syndrome hits hard. Side quests start feeling like padding. So many collectibles you'll lose track. But when Ghost of Tsushima works, it turns violence into poetry. From samurai honor to interdimensional chaos. Number 7, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. Dimension-hopping madness where Ratchet meets alternate universe Rivet. Sounds like a kid's movie plot, right? Wrong. Portal jumping with 0 loading screens feels like actual magic. Rivet's backstory hits way harder than expected. Trauma hidden behind cartoon aesthetics. Every weapon feels completely unique through DualSense. Visual fidelity that makes Pixar jealous. Only complaints? Story feels rushed in places. 8 hours flies by too quickly. Rift Apart proves tech demos can have genuine heart underneath all that spectacle. Quick subscribe reminder, the top 6 are about to get emotional. And speaking of emotional depth in unexpected places,
Pirate mateys, Attack! Ah! We didn't follow that Lombax and his Robo-Pen across dimensions.
Number 6. Horizon Forbidden West. Aloy heads west into mysteries deeper than machine dinosaurs. This isn't just post-apocalyptic, it's post-post-apocalyptic. Layers of fallen civilizations. The world genuinely feels alive. NPCs have actual schedules and personalities. Underwater exploration opens entirely new gameplay possibilities. Machine combat evolved into strategic puzzles. You're analyzing weaknesses, not just shooting. Voice acting sells every emotional beat perfectly. Problems? Open world bloat hits hard. Too much stuff everywhere. Some story beats feel predictable if you played Zero Dawn. When Forbidden West clicks, though, you forget it's a game. You're just living in this world.
This mission is mine alone. If I falter, if I fail, there won't be anyone left to stop what's coming.
Number 5. Alan Wake 2. Writer trapped in his own horror stories. FBI agent investigating cult murders. Reality bends around narrative until you can't tell what's real. This game has musical numbers set in hell. Yes, really. Dual protagonists create perspective shifts that mess with your head constantly. Live-action sequences blend seamlessly with gameplay. You forget you're playing sometimes. The writing treats players like intelligent adults instead of, well, children. Atmosphere so thick you can taste the dread. Biggest issue? You almost need to play the first game. Newcomers get lost. Survival horror sections can feel clunky. Alan Wake 2 proves horror can be high art. Disturbing, unforgettable art. From psychological nightmares to superhero dreams.
Was playing a game with them. Killer left a message.
It's for us. The text is about us.
We were all trapped in a horror story.
Number 4. Spider-Man 2. Peter and Miles team up against Kraven and Venom. Superhero story that balances power fantasy with actual human stakes. Grief, responsibility, corruption. Best web swinging ever created. Movement feels godlike once you master it. Dual protagonists with completely distinct personalities and abilities. The symbiote corruption storyline hits emotional notes perfectly. Fast travel via web zip portals feels seamless. Boss fights look like comic panels come alive. Only real complaint? Some side content gets repetitive. But honestly, swinging through New York makes everything fun. Spider-Man 2 proves superhero games don't have to be shallow power trips. Which brings us to survival that's anything but super.
Neither will I. This is my power. My responsibility. I am Spider-Man.
Number 3. Resident Evil 4 Remake. Leon's Village Siege reimagined with modern horror sensibilities. Chainsaw psychos, cult mysteries, and, miracle of miracles, Ashley escort missions that don't suck. Atmosphere so tense you'll hold your breath during quiet moments. Combat feels desperate and tactical. Every bullet matters. Ashley's AI actually works. She's helpful instead of annoying. Every location feels memorable and distinct. Pacing never lets up for 10 hours straight. One complaint: if you loved the original's campy humor, this version takes itself seriously. More horror, less one-liners. RE4 Remake proves you can honor classics while improving everything. Sounds impossible, but here we are. Which leads us to another impossible transformation.
We gotta keep moving forward. We will beat this. Together.
Thanks.
Number 2. God of War. Kratos learns fatherhood while teaching Atreus about gods, monsters, and responsibility. Norse mythology meets family therapy, with axes. That one-shot camera creates intimacy during epic moments. Father-son relationship feels completely genuine, awkward conversations and all. Combat evolved from mindless button mashing to strategic encounters. Every realm feels distinct and lived in. Christopher Judge brings depth to a previously one-note character. Some puzzle sections slow the pacing, but they build character moments, so it works. God of War proves even gods can grow. Redemption stories hit hardest when earned through gameplay. But all of that, everything we've discussed, pales next to our number one.
Follow me.
Yes, sir!
Number 1. The Last of Us Part 1. Joel and Ellie's cross-country journey through fungal apocalypse. Road trip becomes surrogate father-daughter story wrapped in survival horror. The writing treats you like an adult. Moral ambiguity in every choice. Character performances feel like award-winning films. World building through environmental storytelling. Every location tells silent stories. Violence feels heavy and consequential, not fun. Emotional beats that completely destroy you. Sarah's death, the giraffes, that ending. Honestly, only complaint is that once you experience this story, everything else feels shallow by comparison. The Last of Us Part 1 isn't just the best PS5 story game. It's the reason single-player narratives still matter.
Joel, I can handle myself.
It's called luck, and it is gonna run out.
So there you have it. 10 PS5 stories that justify buying the console. Remember my opening question? Why The Last of Us sold 10 million copies? Because when stories connect, when gameplay serves narrative, when characters feel real, sales follow. These 10 games prove it. Which one broke you emotionally? Drop your trauma in the comments. I read everything and often find my next video topics there. Subscribe if you love games that mess with your feelings. Share this with someone who needs their heart broken by interactive fiction. Thanks for watching. Now excuse me while I go replay The Last of Us and cry again.